Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing? How is your day going? I want to welcome you to the new interview series, Women Leaders Who Make a Difference. I'm Millen Livis, your financial independence mentor. I guide women to financial independence so they have bigger life, free of insecurities and restrictions. So this new interview series is meant to help you create bigger life, make more money, and make a difference. Today, my guest, and this is my honor and joy to introduce you to my guest today, Trish Carr, who is an amazing woman and my personal mentor. Trish, welcome.
Thank you so much, Millen. I'm thrilled to be here.
So Trish is not only an amazing woman, she's actually a great business mentor, one of my mentors. She's a best-selling author and a leadership expert. Since her early years, she has worked to be the change by stepping up, speaking out, and leading the way on women's issues and human rights. Trish is a co-founder of Women's Prosperity Network, a global movement of women coming together in collaboration to be a massive force for positive change through projects, products, and services. So Trish, again, welcome. And I would like to start with something that I heard you said or wrote somewhere, that leadership is not something that we are born with. Leadership is a skill that you can develop. So I would like to ask you, how did you develop your leadership skills? How did you manage to become such an amazing leader in your community and your global community?
Well, it's a really great question. And again, thank you so much for inviting me here to this interview today. I love talking about leadership, especially when it comes to women leaders. So thanks for doing this series. So for me, I have always been lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time. So in my early years, even when I was a teenager, I was always inspired by other people who were doing great things. So very early on, I got involved in things like working with campaigns to elect people who were going to be moving forward my agenda. And my agenda is human rights, women's rights. So early on, I found myself thrust into leadership positions. Simply, I went in to do a phone bank to make phone calls for a candidate. And I made those phone calls, and I guess I just did them pretty well. And they put me as a supervisor at the phone bank. So I was thrown into learning how to manage people and how to really inspire people. I think that's the biggest difference between someone who manages people or someone who is a leader. A leader inspires people, finds the value that each person has, and then supports that person in bringing out their own essence, their own leadership, so that they can move forward, really. So as I grew, as a teenager, I did those things. And then my first jobs put me in leadership positions. I don't know how, but again, I was in the right place at the right time. And when I was a salesperson in telecommunications, I worked at AT&T. I was always lucky enough to be chosen to be on special projects, to move special projects forward. And I just learned by doing that how to talk to people, how to motivate people, how to inspire people, because I felt that I saw other people doing their best to motivate by telling people what to do, as opposed to asking people what they think would be best to do. And I saw that when I allowed people or invited people to tell me what they thought, not only was the project moved forward more quickly, but people had more of a personal buy-in to whatever it was we were doing. Whereas people who were leading projects, who would just say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. There was no real excitement about doing it. People didn't really feel like it was their own. And therefore, those projects were good, but they were never great. So just through my corporate experience, I learned, and the other thing is, and you mentioned it, I had mentors. I had mostly women, although I had many great male mentors as well. Those mentors showed me the way, led the way. John Maxwell, who is a leadership expert, he always says, a leadership goes the way and shows the way. And that's what they did. I had the people in front of me who showed me how to be a good leader, how to value every single person that I meet. And today, I have extraordinary leaders in my life. One of my mentors is Dwayne Cummings. He's the author of The Sensational Salesman and his upcoming book, The Sensational Leader. And he introduced me to the concept of servant leadership. So have you ever heard that term before?
Actually, no.
Yeah, it's a not a new concept, but it's one that you're hearing more and more about. And it's really inverting the whole, how there's a pyramid when you have a business, and at the top you have the CEO, the COO. Well, it's actually inverting that pyramid so that the people who are doing the work, the people on the front line, the people who are closest to your customer, they're the ones that I, as the leader, serve, as opposed to them serving me, them meeting my deadlines, them doing what I say, but I serve them. My job is to identify who's playing with me and what it is I can do to make their life work easy, and how can I tap into their skills? How can I tap into what they have? That's my job, is to really ask, what is it you need so that you can complete this project? What is it you need so you can serve these customers? What is it that I can do to support you? And it's a whole different way of looking at leadership, from a servant as opposed to the one being served.
That's very, very true. And I love what you said, that it's important that your team members have buy-in into the ultimate goal, because then it's a cohesive effort. They feel that they're not just doing their work and getting paid. They feel that they're part of something that is bigger than themselves. And this aspect of, I remember when I was working for corporations, I didn't feel that I was really that important, because it was just a big machine and I was just a little tool in this big machine. So I think it's very important, especially in corporate America, to make people feel like they're very important, they're essential, and that they value, they appreciate it in their work. That's why it's always a good idea to remind yourself to express appreciation to whoever you come across. And something else that you said, I really like this program called Undercover Boss, when they actually go and they work with the workers in their company, and they learn from them, and they notice something that they would never be able to see from the top of the tower. And that's a very, very important concept. And thank you for sharing this message. It's really.
Undercover Boss. I'm so it's glad that you talked about that, because that show really gets to the difference between managers and leaders. Because I have seen, so one of the shows that really rocked me was they had someone who worked at Hooters, the restaurant Hooters in the United States. So these girls are wearing skimpy clothes and all of that stuff, and that's fine, okay? But there was a manager who was actually berating them and treating them so poorly and treating them like they were just his slaves. And the CEO was in there watching this happening, and he pulled it and he cut it and he stops it right away. And here's the other thing. He didn't just fire the man who was doing that. He actually treated him like a person, found out what was his motivation for doing this? Why was he doing it? And he looked at their training. He looked at what they were doing as a company that might have caused this behavior. They put him through sensitivity training. They gave him the opportunity to better himself. And I think there's something to be said for that. People make mistakes, and a good leader is one who will allow the conversation to be opened up to find out what's going on, as opposed to making immediate assumptions about what's happening and what they have to do about it right away. So I love that show. I think that's a really great show. And the key is to really find, what is it inside of the people? What does they want? And to tie what they want to the vision of your company. My job is to set the vision and to set parameters and boundaries so that people can thrive and be the best that they can be in the environment that we're setting. And then let them alone and let them do what they do well. And whatever that is, let them do it and do it well. And then also the other side of that is you want to always inspect what you expect. So when we set expectations, I'm not just going to let somebody go so that the project is due, let's say, the end of May. I don't wait until May 30th to ask, how's it going? I set specific dates and times about what we'll have done by this date. If it's not done, what the implication is to the project, to the people, so that everyone is on the same page and that everyone feels as if they're a part. The other thing is people don't like to have someone looking over their shoulder. But when you set the priorities and the parameters that we're going to meet once a week every Friday.
And we agree on these priorities. So it's not like you said this yourself without coordinating and, agreeing with people who will do this work. You have to make sure that they agree to this. And once the agreement is reached, then you feel that you're in a position to ask how is it going and how is the progress, because this buy-in is very important for every task that they do, right?
Yeah. Yes. And the way you do it is, instead of saying, okay, so every Friday we're going to get together and we're going to talk about what's happening, we do that together. So we would say something like, given that by the middle of the month, we have to have these 3 things in place, when is the best time for us to get together to check on how we're doing on the project? So let the person say to you, well, I think that, we could get together every other week. And then I could say, well, maybe, but what happens if the first week we slip a deadline? When are we going to get in touch? And when do we know? So we really work it out together. That's really what it's about. And the biggest thing is to let people do what they do. Right?
Right. I see that you can talk about this topic endlessly because it's so important. Teamwork is at the heart of any success in any company. It's a teamwork. It's not just who is the boss and who is the worker. I always see it as a teamwork, and having very clear communication, very candid communication. So there is a feedback back and forth, and there is a very clear guidelines, so people would not be confused or maybe discouraged. So that's very important. And and I think it's what you said is so huge, that whoever works in particular company, they've got to buy into the vision of this company. This is so important to keep people motivated, so they will see that it's not just a task that they have to complete and will get paid for. It's creating something that they believe in as well. So that's why I think, I don't remember who mentioned this. It was a survey done that the companies that perform the best because they have employees who bought into the vision of the company, and like Apple would be one of them, etc.
Right. And there's a whole concept out there. So there's a milk company that uses the slogan, milk from contented cows, which
I love that.
Me too. So it gives you the feeling that you're getting happy milk.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to create in our teams, whether our team is an employee or our team is someone who's working on just a project with us. In today's world, most companies use a good number of independent freelance people for projects. That's really the way of the world. Now people are working multiple projects rather than working one job for their lifetime. So that adds some additional challenges because, your paycheck, yes, is tied to it in a way, but they can just walk away at any time and say, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
So often what I find people doing who are running a project is, I'll just hire someone else. But it's not that easy to find talented people, and then to find talented people that have the right attitude, that are trainable.
This is the key. When I'm hiring my team members, for me, attitude is the key. Like, obviously, experience is important and skills are important, but the right attitude is at the heart of everything. Because if this piece is missing, then nothing else matters. Nothing else matters.
Exactly. I don't want to have drama on top of all of the other things that we do. So being drama-free is a leadership quality.
I agree.
Right?
I couldn't agree more. Yes. I love that. I love what you said. Being drama-free is a leadership quality.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
No room for gossip. No room for, making stuff up. No making assumptions about, well, I think this is what they need, or, they said this or he said that. That's not, you don't get forward in life. So no drama. I like to have every relationship. I always say I want to live in 10 relationships on a scale of 1 to 10. I want all of my relationships to be a 10. And that starts with open communication, which is really a huge part of leadership. The other thing about being a leader, and this can be challenging at times, is to be calm and cool no matter what happens. Like when you see the leader get angry or frustrated or take out their frustration on other people, it lowers you. It brings you down a notch. People don't have as much respect for you. But when you can show up in any situation, and just stay calm and assess the situation, that's what a good leader does. Managers can tend to go to the first place, and this happened often when I worked in corporate. Who did this? Whose fault was this? Who should we blame? As opposed to, what caused the issue? What can we do to fix it? And what can we do that it doesn't happen again? So it's all about raising yourself up. I like to say you raise yourself to the 10,000-foot level, and you can look down and see things at a bigger area. And it gives you so much opportunity when you can really look at the whole picture. So for what it's worth, we talk at Women's Prosperity Network about the philosophy of the one. Nancy Matthews, my partner and my sister, I'm very lucky that I created my company with my two sisters, Susan Winter and Nancy Matthews. And Nancy created this philosophy called the one philosophy. And it really goes to leadership. It's about showing up and being the one for other people, not looking for the one who can do something for me, but showing up in every situation as being the one. Whether you're in the grocery store and you're talking with someone in line and they ask you about, hey, did you like that food? Should I go buy it? Or if you're dealing with networking, for example, and going to a networking event, when you show up as the one, and you show up as someone who's confident, and you show up as someone who's there to serve, people are naturally attracted to you. But when you show up looking for what's in it for me, how can I get my thing done, it doesn't get you the same results. It's all about serving other people. Everything is about service. That's how I feel about it. And leadership is about service. It's about inspiring people. It's about moving people. It's about connecting with people and caring with people.
So very true. I couldn't say it better. Every time when someone is worried about, am I doing the right thing? Am I received right when you do presentations? When you're nervous about how people may receive you, what people may think about you, as soon as you move attention from yourself to people who you actually serve, to people who you actually presenting to, as soon as you make this shift, it's like all this tension is just released naturally because you're not focused on how good you are, but you focus on what can you do for these people to make their life better. And it's amazing how it's like it works like a magic.
Yes.
And by the way, you started talking about Women's Prosperity Network. I was just about to ask you, what would you like to say? So tell me a little bit more about how Prosperity Network that you co-founded with your two sisters, how lucky you are.
Yes.
What WPN can do for women in terms of growing wealth, growing business, and actually expanding life? What this amazing network that you created for women can do for them? If you could just comment on that.
Well, thank you so much for asking. So Women's Prosperity Network is about three things. It's about growth, personal growth, and professional growth. Whether you are a professional in your own business or you work in someone else's business, or whether you're retired and you do projects or you have something that you're trying to move ahead, doesn't matter. So it's personal development and professional development. And personal development is so important because that's the foundation for everything. The second area is growth. You know, they say if you're not growing, you're dying. So our goal is to support you with your leadership growth and being the best that you can be for yourself, for your family, for your business, for the world. And then the third area is community. It's all about coming together, because when we come together, we exponentially increase our ability to accomplish the things we want to accomplish. You know, they say there's no I in team and all that, but here's the thing. Team is so important because my skills and your skills, when they come together, they create a whole that would not have happened had we not come together. So Women's Prosperity Network, we provide opportunities to connect in community, to grow with training, education in the areas of specific things for personal development, such as leadership, such as how to run a business and have it make money for you, and how to build wealth. You, Millen, know this more than anyone. There's the how to have a business that pays my bills, and then how to have a business that pays my bills even when I'm not working, and how to have wealth being built from the money I'm making from my business. So that perhaps at some point in my life, when I want to go part-time or go lower or slower, I can. So we talk about having that growth through our wealth. And I'm so happy that you're part of Women's Prosperity Network because you bring a wealth of knowledge about wealth and make a big difference. So
I actually just joined your network. I had no idea that you existed. And finally, when I joined, when I think I found you online, or someone mentioned your name, and I found you online, and I joined your first event in November. It was such an eye-opening. I was like, where was I before? Why I didn't know about this network, about this amazing group of women right here in my backyard? So what I wanted to ask you, because we talk about building business and growing wealth, and sometimes managing all these priorities, like having a job and maybe building the business part-time and taking care of your family and taking care of yourself, if you make time for that at all, it could be very daunting. So how do you help your members to be motivated, to be more balanced in terms of priorities that they have on their plate?
It's a really good question, Millen, because women in general have multiple priorities. We're always juggling a lot of things. So regardless of whether, you're working for yourself or you're working in another company, most of us are working outside the home. Plus we're managing children, plus we're managing projects, plus we're taking care, many of us, of a significant other. So it's a lot. And here's the thing, we have specific structure that we have that we can support women with. So the first thing is we have a recommendation of every morning how to get your day started so that it's about you first. It's about me being the best that I can be, because if I'm putting everything about taking care of myself aside, then people are not going to get the best of me, meaning they're not going to get the best me. So it's number one, taking care of me. And that's simply 15 minutes every morning, setting myself up for success. And I have different ways that we do that. I have some journal prompts and some questions to ask myself, but it all comes around, who am I going to be today? Not what am I going to do? Because the first place we go is pick up our phone and we're in our email or we're on our calendar. It's who am I going to be today? And today I'm going to be an extraordinary leader. Today I'm going to be someone that my team can count on. Today I'm going to be someone who manages every situation that comes my way with grace and with ease, right? So setting myself up for success. That's the first thing. The other thing we do, because we come in collaboration together, there's always someone. When I left my corporate job, I could always, there was no one to go to, right? In my job, I could stand up, I could find someone and say, hey, I'm having a rough day, give me some help. Or, hey, I have this great idea, can I bounce it off you? Well, I didn't have that when I left my corporate job, but that's the thing that we provide, is lots of ways that we touch each other and we connect together so that if we need support, we have it. If we want to bounce an idea off someone, we can. So we create lots of mastermind opportunities, places for us to come together. And we do that locally in some cities, but we're also a massive online force with women from all over the world coming together to share ideas, to share situations. You know, we like to say we're the place where you can be real, like be who you are, be authentic.
Without mask, without being proper, without saying, well, everything is fine. And then
right.
just, yeah.
But it's not always fine, and it's okay, even for us as leaders. Recently, I was in a docu-series called Awakening Giants, and it's a reality show of watching leaders in situations where they're kind of squeezed. And it's okay to show your scars and bruises. It's okay to talk about what's real in your life. Vulnerability is what makes you connect with people.
That's very true. That's so true.
Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of how long are you going to stay in it, and how do you recover from it? And that's what we do together, is we can be real. We can get real with each other because we understand each other. And from that, we get real results in our life. That's what it's all about. So that's what Women's Prosperity Network is, a coming together of amazing, extraordinary women who are all on a path to make a positive difference in this world with our products, our services, and our projects.
And being a member of your network, I can certainly confirm that that's the case. Some women that I met at your events, just extraordinary. And I'm so blessed that I know now that there is a group of amazing women who I can contact and ask for help and ask for support, ask for feedback. It's so valuable. It's just priceless, because especially for people like myself, for example.
Yeah, it is. We do.
I moved to Florida. I had nobody there. I didn't know, my life was only online, and that now I can actually meet people, live people in person, who I can connect and discuss and collaborate with. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And even, sometimes it's not easy to get out of the house. So we also connect online. We do a monthly Zoom networking. If you go to womensprosperitynetwork.com, you'll see we do Zoom networking. So we meet each other face to face. We meet people from all over the world. And we have local connection as well. We get together a couple of times a year with events where people from all over the network come together in person. So we have lots and lots of ways where we can connect, and it's extraordinary. The greatest thing about it is, that we are all women who are on a path. We are all dedicated to our own excellence and to our own success. And the thing about Women's Prosperity Network is the woman next to you, whether she's sitting next to you somewhere or you're online together, she is just as committed to your success as she is to your own.
Yes. So this is super, super valuable. And if you're watching us right now and you feel that you would like to get support, whether you live in South Florida or not, because it's a global network, Women's Prosperity Network. It's a global network of women who you can collaborate and connect with and grow together. So if you want to join this network, where women can find you, Trish, if you could just tell us.
Just go to womensprosperityNetwork.com. That's womensprosperityNetwork.com, and you'll see all the information there. We have local chapters all over the U.S. and some outside of the U.S., and we have many, many ways that we connect online, face-to-face. So even though we don't get to see each other all the time, we can connect face-to-face online, and then we get together for national and international events in person. The next one of those, we do those twice a year.
And you also offer very valuable programs. One of these programs, I was your student. So you offer valuable programs online that women can just take and be coached by some amazing women like yourself. So it's not only about connection and collaborating, it's also about training and products that you offer. So that's everything you can find on this website that I believe is displayed right now.
It is
on this video. So I could not recommend more highly this network, and especially my experience with working with Trish was absolutely magical. Thank you so much for everything, Trish. Thank you for being my guest today. I really appreciate your time and your sharing your wisdom and sharing your enthusiasm. Like when you start talking about leadership, it's like it's impossible even to ask you questions. I didn't even want to interrupt because it was so full of golden nuggets. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And everybody else, so thank you for watching us. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you and your commitment to being the best you can be. And now that we started this interview series, I hope that you will see us, you will join us for other episodes in this interview series. Thank you again. And until we see each other again. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye now. Have a great day.
Thank you.